want to. Just,
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. DE says, hey, Nick, could I discuss VPVR
Hello, everyone.
on Bitcoin on the high time frames? I'll see. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin short term at the moment. Volume profile is what I think you're asking for, and volume profile is something that you have to pay extra for, and I don't use all the time. And one of the reasons that I don't use it in crypto is I think that so much of the volume that is done is over the counter and we can't see it. So I'm not sure how useful it is. In fact, I think it can trip us up. So I'm not going to talk about volume profile on the high time frames in Bitcoin tonight, but I might do a video about it another time. Okay. So, so there we go. The coin list tonight, if you refresh the page, I've done the coin list at the top on YouTube. So if you refresh your YouTube page, you'll see the coin list at the top. We're going to start with the big majors, and we're going to start with Bitcoin. We've really seen a spectacular move in Bitcoin, above the 200 moving average. The most interesting thing that's happened today is we've hit a bit of a double top, or we've stopped at the previous highs. Whenever you see this, this is a warning that you stopped going up and you're going sideways. Our moving averages now have also flattened out down here on the hourly. They're starting to flatten out here just on the 4 hour. So we've got a sideways range and we've got a top and a bottom. It's not a double top until we break the bottom of this range, which is down here around 4,800. If we do break the bottom of the range, you can expect with a double top to go twice this distance, so we can measure it, and that says that we go to around 4,228 if we break this double top level. So if we go back to our daily and see where that would actually be a little bit underneath this 4,400, 4,300 support and resistance level we'd got, and it would be a retest back towards this breakout level. I doubt somehow that we'll come back this far. It feels to me like we have a bit of a short squeeze going on, and I think more likely if we're going to get caught anywhere, it will be around this 200 moving average. Or what Bitcoin really likes to do is go sideways very often in an uptrend. So you'll see a sharp move up and then some sideways trading, and then we'll carry on again when the moving averages catch up. In terms of one of the things that I look for is 50% of a big move. When we have a big move like this, very often 50% of this big open close range is support or resistance. You can see it with this big down move here. It was resistance, resistance until it wasn't, and so on. And so I would say that that's also another level where I would look. And that's going to be around 4,500. So if we say 4,500, so consolidation, a stall today at a potential double top level. If we think that 4,500 is also 50% of this most recent swing, if I make this a bit darker, so that would be quite a likely level, especially as Bitcoin likes round numbers. And if we go all the way to the lows and we look and see where that 382 fib is, maybe what price we've got for that, 4,495, so that's 4,500 as well. So a lot of confluence in terms of fib levels on pullbacks around 4,500. So that's where I'm going to be looking on this pullback swing. The 200 moving average first, and then potentially 4,500. But for now, and you can see with 5 days of inside days, we've really slowed down quite a lot. If we were talking Japanese candlesticks, we would say, this is almost 3 inside up, and then I was looking for this to go down. So shallow pullback, I think, and it will give us a buying opportunity in Bitcoin. So short term, when we're looking at this for signs of a breakdown, at the moment we haven't quite got our breakdown yet, but I think if we lose these hourly moving averages and we lose this kind of trend line support here, then we'll see a drop back to these lows. So that's how I'm seeing Bitcoin tonight. Now, Ethereum's been a little bit more bullish. I talked about Ethereum earlier today and how Bitcoin chart is strongly bullish. So we had this same resistance level in, I'm going to look big picture in Ethereum. For the first time, you know, since May of a year ago, we're above the 200 moving average. But if you think of, I'm going to go to a weekly chart. If you think of Fibonacci levels as a staircase, like support and resistance, not just pullback levels, then we've climbed from this fib level. It was resistance, and now we have above it. We're above it, this 886 fib. So in terms of a sequence, we're climbing our way back up. For me, this is really positive and a really good sign of a bottom in conjunction with this move above the 200 moving average, a pullback, find support from this moving average, and carry on higher. Everything is pointing to higher in ETH. So where next on this next swing? I think if we look at this, at this point, I think it's more helpful to start sort of projecting targets this way as well and seeing where everything lines up, which is what I like to do. Sometimes it doesn't all line up in the same place. Sometimes it does. We'll take that away. I'm going to keep relying on this big one though, and this 2.618 levels and these highs here. And I'm going to start looking at this big swing, and we're going to look for the 236 fib retrace from this big swing here, the most recent swing lower, and that's going to be our target. We'll make it a color we can see. There it is. And there it lines up with this 2.618 extension from this correction. So for me, everything, and it's also lining up around these highs. So everything is lining up for a 258 target next for ETH, but potentially a bit of a wobble level and some profit taking around 198, so 200. And that wouldn't be a surprise at all because ETH does love big numbers. So 198, 200 next resistance, and that's the 1.618 of this pullback level. So onward and upward for ETH. And if we take a look at ETH Bitcoin, here's the daily chart in ETH Bitcoin, and you can see lovely pullback, fine support from the 200-day moving average. If we ignore this spike, we've got a really nice ABC here. So what we really need to see next is a close above these highs and a close above the 50 moving average, and we should really rock and roll in ETH Bitcoin. We're a little bit off the highs from this morning, but still has a really good look, I think, in this one. I'm going to measure it like this. So 61.8 of A. I know this. I don't know where that spike came from, but it might just be cracking. Let's look at ETH Bitcoin on a different exchange like Binance. Here we go. No spike here, and a really kind of good looking look and a bounce off the 200-day moving average in ETH Bitcoin here. So if we can break these highs, or let's put a value on it in Fibonacci terms. We'll say 50% of this, which is exactly the highs. No coincidence in this game, is there? 35227. Above 35227, we should really fly in ETH Bitcoin. So let's look for that to break to the upside. All lining up. We're wrong about that. If we get back underneath the 200 moving average. Paul Moss says, Nick is a bit like Brexit. It'll happen shortly. I've given up on Brexit happening. I really don't think it's going to happen. God, everyone must be so fed up of talking about it. So should we talk about so last week we had a few picks. Let's talk about last week's picks. One of them was QTUM. Now, in US dollar terms, QTUM hasn't done, in Bitcoin terms, Bitcoin hasn't done anything. In fact, it's still set up as a bottoming pattern waiting to break out. If I put regular candles on, we got rejected at this level again today, which is a bit frustrating. However, so we didn't actually break to new highs. If you bought it anyway, though, which you might have done, let's take a look at QTUM against US dollar or against dollar tether. You'll see that although, you know, you'll be up marginally. What was last week? The first was here. So you would have bought it somewhere around here. That was the first, wasn't it? So you bought the lows of last week. Highs, I mean. We'll say the highs. So you'd be up marginally, not a loser. We'll call it a scratch trade. So it hasn't broken out, but if you did buy it anyway, you're not offside. I'm still waiting for QTUM to break out. The other one that we looked at last week, which I like, and I still really like, is TRX. Had a bit of a scary ride. In TRX, here's the price we were at last week against Bitcoin, and we're back slightly up against Bitcoin, but still haven't broken above this daily 50 moving average. Instead, we seem to be building a bigger bottoming pattern. I still really like TRX to rally from here. I think that we'll at least get to 672 next. So 671, and probably back to new highs and a new swing. Now, so we're marginally up. This is another like a scratch one, isn't it? Let's see where we are against tether. We're up very nicely in tether, of course. So if you did buy it, you again wouldn't have had a loser, but it's not a really stellar winner yet, is it? Where did we buy it last week? 1st of April down here. So you are actually up quite nicely in dollar terms from 2,400 to 3,000. Still waiting for this one. If we can get above 31.62 next in TRX, our target is 43.37. I like if we look in tether, this is another lovely inverted head and shoulders pattern going on here, and here we are still at the neckline in TRX. So 31.62 is where we need to break, and if we do, then we'll go twice this. We'll go back to the highs, twice the distance, and that's at 50%. So this then becomes our target here. So, and last one we looked at last week was CVC. CVC, epic fail. So here was the pullback head and shoulders pattern that we were looking at in CVC, and we were looking for a break out of this. That's the 4-hour chart. Let's see the daily. Here's our pullback long. That was the foot. Looks like it's collapsed from the minute I talked about it. So that was a loser. There we go. How much would you have lost in US dollar terms? Well, nothing. It's gone nowhere, has it? In fact, you might even be... There was the first last week, so you'll be like so up, so small in US dollar terms, it's not funny. So another scratch anyway. So let's hope we can do better with my picks this week. So my first week pick, I've already talked about, is ETH. I really do think ETH has a lot of room to the upside, and I like how ETH Bitcoin looks. And I am wrong if we drop back below 166. 166 or 165 should be really good support in ETH. My other top pick for this week is ADA. I really like this pullback level in ADA. So let's zoom out and look at the daily in ADA Bitcoin. This is our 236 fib level. It's the daily 20 moving average, and there's some pretty good support and resistance here if we change to regular candlesticks in ADA. So I'm watching to see if ADA can turn up here. Now, I would not buy this blind. Okay, I would wait and see. If I look at this on the hourly, and I put my Heikin on, we've had one bounce off the level that I like. What I'd like to see is this retested and sort of a double bottom off this level, something like that. That would get me excited about buying. I'm looking at this equal measured move that we've made, pullback. And if I do this, we've got room to go that little bit lower, 1585. So I'm wrong below on a close below 1585. We've got a bit of wiggle room, but this is the zone where I expect ADA to find a base and rally from. So watch for the retest. It might go a little bit lower and then a double bottom, but that's what I'm looking for this week from ADA. pull back to ideal support. Next one that I think we have a really good chance in is, I can't see it because could you tell me what the third one on the top of the page is, James, please? So hold on, I just have to reload my page. My channel, here we go, I wrote it down. God, how bad is this? I can't see my own header.
TRX.
Thank you. I said TRX today. Well, there you go. I still like TRX that we did last week. I still like this inverted head and shoulders pattern. I think TRX is a bargain above 31.62. So I'm looking for a breakout in TRX above 31.62 in Tether, and the target is 5216. And in TRX Bitcoin, the trade is above 604. Now in this one, I'm looking for a bit further, 671 initially, but if we look at these moving averages and this swing, I think we should duplicate this swing, and we're going back to these highs at 1,083 next. So TRX is my third pick again. Let's see how we go this time. Hopefully nobody lost money last week. They shouldn't do. We're not offside, and we'll see how we'll see how we go. Okay, so let's carry on with all the other requests. We've looked at ADA, so we'll take a look at quick look at Litecoin. Litecoin was spectacularly outperforming Bitcoin, and was a really good leading indicator when everything started moving higher. Unfortunately, Litecoin, let's hope Litecoin is not an indicator of the correction to come. We've reversed at Litecoin against Bitcoin, we've reversed at a 618 fib level. When you do that, you usually come back and back test the 50% fib level. So that in Bitcoin is going to be 15,940. And if we break that level, because we're now in the golden ratio zone between the 618 and 382 fibs, if we break 15,940, we will come back to 13,802. And that's where we will have a really good buy opportunity in Litecoin at 13,802 Bitcoin. So if you're holding this one, this is another one where we've had a double top. If we break the pivot level in the middle, which is here, look, because we had this drop, you can see if we break 15,940, we will drop down to 13,800. So warning of more to come, lower to come in Litecoin. If we take a quick look at Litecoin against US dollar or US dollar Tether, we'll do Tether at Binance, why not? Same double top pattern here. If we break these lows, let's go back to the daily and see where our fibs are. We haven't got quite the same fib pattern going on. I've drawn the fibs though from this high. Maybe if I put them up here, you can see we haven't got to the 236 fib yet. Like I hate kind of, I have to say it's my pet hate. I hate kind of curve fitting by picking a fib in the middle. So I'm going to leave it at this one because it works really well for now, and say potentially we could hold support at 84.69 potentially on a daily close basis, and potentially this could just be a big triangle or a wedge pattern, and we have another leg higher to this 50% level up here. And if that's the case, it's going to look a bit like this, and it won't be simple. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably like that. And then the target is that 50% level next at 103. And then the next fib level, 122, and so on. So as long as we don't close below the 20 moving average, you know, or 50% of this swing, then this is just consolidation in an uptrend in Litecoin. But we do have further, you know, we're not ready to turn higher again yet. So I would put that one aside, really. Put your money somewhere else for now. So the next one is ADA, which I have looked at. I think, yeah, we've done ADA. Looking for ADA to turn higher. Then the next one is Bitcoin Cash SV. Now I tweeted this week that I thought Bitcoin Cash with SV was on the move. Here's my reason why. Whenever you have a low like this and you have a false breakdown and a strong rally like this, then you're usually looking for some follow through. So we had the kind of two dogs nose to nose dojis here. And then we had these inside bars holding the moving averages. I really thought that this was all set to continue higher from here. And of course it didn't. And today we have collapsed again and are set to retest the lows. So really good fib support and spike fib support down here at 14,350. But in terms of Bitcoin, not ready to rally yet in Bitcoin Cash SV. I just thought with this price action, maybe we'll see some follow through and another leg higher, and it hasn't happened yet. Now, if we're just going to make an ABC correction, and this is just a shakeout, maybe too many people jumped on the bus and it got a little bit too full. If this is a little bit of a shakeout, maybe 15,370 might catch us ahead of there. Maybe I've drawn this wrong. I would be wrong if we connect all these highs and then we blast above these moving averages to the upside again. I might put in a little alarm up here, but I'm watching it. So let's see how we look in I don't think we look any better in US dollar terms in this one. Well, not too bad, but just sideways consolidation. But to me, this has a really good bottoming look. I'm ready for this to rally. We've had a big move higher. We've had an A, B, C correction lower here in Bitcoin Cash SV. And we have spent, it hasn't quite reached it, but it's close enough. And we've spent a very long time building this base. So potentially the next swing higher, if we don't come too far back, if I look at this in terms of tether, yeah, not too far before I think. Potentially a little bit lower, maybe around 77.50 in US dollar tether. Let's see if we can make a base there. So it's off the menu for now. I did think we had the potential to push higher, and it's all, we're having a bit of a correction. So we need to see how far we come back and how we unfold in this correction. So far, the price action on the pullback is choppy and overlapping, and that says to me correction, so that we should be waiting to buy the pullback in Bitcoin Cash SV. Okay, next one we're going to look at is NEO. And now this one, I'm going to start with it in US dollar. After a really spectacular run, and let's be honest, it really has had a spectacular run in US dollar terms, we're having a little bit of a pullback. There is the potential, I think, in this one to come all the way back and retest this 200 moving average. I think we can also potentially count three waves. Let me just see one thing. Yeah. So signs of a stall, even in dollar tether terms. Here, sideways trading. Again, whenever you go flat or you go into a sideways range, you wait for a breakout. The markets have three directions. They have up, down, and sideways. So NEO is sideways right now, holding the lows. We're going to wait and see which way we break out from this consolidation next. It might be lower, it might be higher, to be honest. Flip a coin. I think there's a good chance of lower. And the same rules apply. When we draw head and shoulders patterns or double tops or triple tops, when we do this sideways consolidation, the same rules apply. The width of the consolidation, usually from your breakout, define how far. So if we say we're approximately, this is how wide our consolidation is here, and we break down, then this is where we come back to, and this is this support and resistance level, and back to test 1010 in tether. So back to the next 236 fib level, if you like. That was resistance before. If we look at NEO in Bitcoin terms, Sometimes the levels work better in Bitcoin. Sometimes they work better in US dollar. This is another one where it's looking like works better in Bitcoin, doesn't it? So normally, from this high to this low, our fibs are. We know they work because they worked at all the other fib levels on the way up. Look, 236, 382, 50%. So now we've reversed at the 618. When you reverse at a 618 golden ratio, you usually will go at least to the 382 if you break the 50, and sometimes you will drop down to the 236 fib. So we're almost back at the level where we should find some support in Neo Bitcoin, 2340, and if we don't, we could drop to 2085. So now we watch on the lower time frame, see if we make a base here. So now we need to watch signs of a bottom, you know, like here we made a high, came back, retested it, double top. We know that's a top. Now we need to make the same kind of a base here and show that we're going up. So 2340 is a good level. Now we need to watch and see how we behave and see if we can buy Neo Bitcoin here. All of the daily moving averages bunched up. Look, this is where the daily 50 is. So I'm hopeful, but let's see. Optimistic, let's see. In Neo. Hi Peter. I'll see if I can do Ripple at the end. GRIN is on the list. Yes, it is as well. You know, Ripple back in correction again, so I'm not quite feeling it. I think it's coming. Now, I got very excited about Ethereum Classic over the weekend. Who didn't? And I was like, wahoo, look at this. This is the 236 fib. We've smashed it. Everything looks great, doesn't it? But when corrections are normally 5 waves. And the third wave is very often sort of 1.618 of the first wave. And in corrections, very often you'll see 2 equal swings. And this is exactly what we've done here in Ethereum Classic. So at the moment, it looks like we've made 2 equal swings higher and we failed to hold new highs, really. So it's not so bearish. There was a lot of profit taking up here at 1500. So now we have the top of our range defined, and now we know where the bottom of our range is. If I'm wrong and we're just going to carry on higher, this is 1, 2, 3, then we will hold support here at probably at this 200 moving average, and I wouldn't want to see it any further below that. If you're still holding on to some, that's kind of where you don't want it. You don't really want it any lower than that. 1334 is 50% of this big green candle. In terms of Japanese candlesticks, a daily close below 1334 would be a bearish harami because it closes more than 50% down of this big green candle from the open to close. So 1334 is where we don't want a daily close below. That would be bearish. So at the moment we're holding up there and we could just turn around and carry on higher. See how we look down here. Not quite enough evidence yet. Found some support around this level. So let's see if you're still in this one because you bought the breakout. Keep it tight. Your Coinbase ETC transfer took 20 hours. Good grief. Well done, M. Cox. Well done. Now, very often, markets retest the highs. They retest the lows. Ethereum Classic likes to do it. You get a higher high, lower low. So when you get a sharp reversal like this, very often you don't know if that's going to be the high or not until you see what happens on the retest. So if we make a double top, we know that was the top. If we make a higher low or retest this fib level, and then we know. So if you're still in, watch what happens on this bounce. But for now, yeah, it's off my menu. Okay, Dash Coin. Still bullish. I'm still bullish, Dash Coin. I think it's got a really good look. And we're still in an uptrend. So just with your naked Mark 1 eyeball here, you can see we have a sharp move higher, choppy overlapping corrections in channels. Sharp move higher, choppy overlapping, and same thing. And in this case, because we had these highs, this is where we've held a support and the 20 moving average. In this one, I think we're seeing a slightly different pattern, but wedge or triangle now, setting up. You see this very often. It means it usually breaks with the uptrend, so I would expect this to break higher. And it's usually the final leg in an uptrend before we see a bigger correction. So, you know, Martin Dembeck, no Ripple. Nobody requested Ripple until everybody came, so I'll do Ripple. Hold on. So when I can't draw a trend line to see that this is breaking higher, what I tend to do is use fib levels for confirmation of a breakout. And so this kind of 50% level seems to be the tricky one. I think if we get back above 26,457, something like that, that will probably be the swing. Or let's look at this as a shorter term, you know, consolidation, and we'll look for a breaker to the upside. So 26,457, and we should see it swinging higher again in Dashcoin Bitcoin. And if you're worried about this consolidation losing you a ton of money against Tether, it doesn't seem to be. If we look at it against dollar, you know, we're still holding pretty much at the highs. Yeah, we've had our sharp pullback, but we've got very much the same setup in Dash US dollar, holding above the 200-day. You know, we're all set to retest these highs at 172 in Dash. Okay, in Ripple. Now, here's a big daily chart of Ripple Bitcoin. From this high to this low was a correction. It was clearly sort of an ABC, and then we had a B leg rally. So we've got A down, A, B, C up here, I think. And now we're looking at this final leg, which is a declining wedge. Now, 61.8 of this first swing when I measure it. So I measure from this high to this low, and I project it from here. 61.8 could have been the support. It was at 72.30, but we haven't. We've broken underneath it. Not only that, but now we're underneath it. This level, 72.30, is resistance. So it's starting to look like we're going to carry on lower to the equal measured move support down here at 5,045 in Ripple Bitcoin. Now, does that mean that you're going to lose a ton of money in Ripple? Probably not. It just means that, you know, against Bitcoin, it just means that Bitcoin's going to do a little bit better. So I'm not going to take them off. They're not working. So let's see how this looks against, just trying to see if those levels line up. 886, yeah. 5,000 then, I think, is where we're headed back to. And that's quite a long way. I wouldn't hodl this. We're at 6,800 now. So if you're holding a bag, I would think about reallocating your resources. Let's take a look at Ripple dollar. See what I mean? It just means that Ripple's underperforming, because in terms of Tether, this looks like a stable coin. We're really flat in Ripple US dollar, aren't we? Hello, Jack Gwen. 6,000 confirmations. God. So, you know, yeah, you have to decide. In terms of Ripple against the US dollar, you're not losing any money. We're really stable. It's just that Bitcoin is outperforming. So see where we are. So if you want a sign that Ripple is moving higher again, see this most recent swing, high to low. The 50% is what's holding us down. 0.36545. If we can move above that, we'll be moving higher. If we do this swing here, this 50% was where we got stuck. we're still in a downtrend when we're holding underneath those 50% levels. If we do the same here, underneath the 50%. So that's what I'd be looking for. Okay, and if we can't and we head lower, I would think about reallocating it. So Ripple, sideways at the moment, daily sideways. This kind of doesn't give us any clue as to what we're going to do next. Sorry. So you're not losing any dollar money, but you might be missing an opportunity in Ripple. That's my verdict. Okay, let's move on and look at some more. ICX was one. Really a bit of a disappointment, this one. This is one where I really thought that we could push, was never going to stop going up, or at least it was going to wait until we got to the next fib level. Let's have a bit of a tidy up. Instead, we seem to have stopped in the middle of nowhere. It's not quite in the middle of nowhere because support and resistance in this one has come into play, and we've stalled at this spike low. I think now we will see a pullback from here, likely to retest this. We've got 5 waves up in ICX, which is quite bullish in Tether. Now I think we're going to see a pullback to this 200 moving average, at this daily 20 moving average, and to retest this 236 fib. It's at 37.35, 0.3735. So in dollar terms, we are in a pullback. If we take this most recent 5 wave swing higher as well, it's the 50% back there in the middle as well. So that's how I'm seeing ICX. A pullback in US dollar terms. So probably one you should take profit in and wait and look around 0.37. In ICX Bitcoin, we keep failing here. You know, it hasn't quite gone so far. Here's the thing, we're really stuck in no man's land, and here's this 50% rule again. Okay, let me hide the moving averages so it's nice and clean, and I can show you what you mean. So from this most recent swing high lower, from this high to this low, we stalled exactly at 50% here. Let me tidy up this. When you see that, it usually means a pullback 50% the other way. So if we do 50% the other way, no surprise, that's where we found support and bounced. Now, on the rally, we're stuck. We've gone a little bit beyond that 50% level, but we're still kind of not able to really make much progress above it. So, you know, this is getting itself into a tighter and tighter range. If you put a gun to my head, I think with 5 waves up, we need 3 waves back, and I'm not entirely sure that we've completed them. So this is 1, A, B, C, and we're going to see another leg lower before we finish. So yeah, just not compelling or giving me any reason to want to buy this one right now. I think each dip back down here, it's holding the 200 moving average, but we don't see any follow through off it. So just sideways. Nothing doing. And again, holding underneath the 50% really always risks a bigger move lower, okay? Okay, so the next one we're going to look at, now we've got depressed about ICX's POWR ledger. Now this is a coin that I've kind of always really liked, this Aussie coin, isn't it? And what I really like this one is the bottoming pattern that we're building. Here we are back again though at the 200-day moving average. I'm going to put real candles on. Are we going to find support here? Because, you know, we didn't when we got above it before. The coin is just doing its own thing Yeah, I would really like it if we did, because then I think we could be saying, okay, this is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, potentially building. The best ones have kind of symmetry, so they're equal size, left and right. If we do that, you know, a kind of turn here and back to the neckline in the next week or so would be really good for Power Ledger, really good. If we say this was our first swing lower, has this second swing lower gone enough? Is it like 61.8 of the first one? Not quite. We could go a tiny bit lower. 23.50 would be ideal, and then a turn higher from there. So potentially making a base, but if this, you know, if this is bigger picture, if this is our first swing lower, you know, head and shoulders patterns very often fail. If this is our first swing lower and this is a bear flag, and then we're breaking down, you know, we could go all the way back to the lows, if not new lows. So, you know, we really need to see good evidence of a turnaround before we jump in power. I think it's got potential, but I'm holding back a little bit. Okay. Not yet, in other words. Stratus. Now, Stratus is one that I've been getting excited about. I think it's going to break my heart again every time I get excited about this one. Every time I think, oh, this is it. This is the time. This is going to break out this time. And it doesn't, of course. You know, we're in this sideways range. Really, haven't bottomed until we break out of it. I'm pretty sure I was saying this last week. Last week we're testing the highs. And we haven't broken out yet. So close though, haven't we? Now, we've kind of flatlined in the middle. So if you know, very often with these sideways ranges, the midline will be a kind of pivot level. You know, you're underneath it or above it. And we seem to have flatlined in this level. Be very careful that it doesn't fake you out. In other words, if the first move, you know, I'd be more bullish if the first move was a false move lower, just to try and trick the momentum the wrong way. So yeah, neutral. This is completely flat, but I absolutely would buy this above 25.80. I did BCHSV at the beginning. Nobody asked for Bitcoin ABC. It's a little bit stretched, you know. We're trying to look for the ones that haven't made their move yet. Stratus above 25.70 would be on the way for sure. So you think if you're holding Stratus, and I did for a bit, when you're doing this against Bitcoin and it's going sideways like this, you think, well, you know, it looks a bit like a stable coin, but if Bitcoin is doing really well, which it has been, you can see that in Stratus in dollar terms, actually, we haven't done that badly at all. And here we are holding above the 200-day moving average. So if you want to know what's our breakout level going to be in Stratus dollar, it's going to be beyond this 50% level that keeps sticking us. See how from this high to this low, the 50% level keeps being where we get stuck. It's at 1.2794. If we can close above that, we're on our next leg up and up back to retest the highs, hopefully around 1.9 or 2 in Stratus. That's if you look at the US dollar chart. So Zilliqa is next. God, this is another one. I had really high hopes for Zilliqa about a week ago, and I thought, you know, we're making a big inverted head and shoulders pattern, and within that we've got a little one forming here for the right shoulder, kind of fractal city, and it's done nothing. It hasn't broken out. In fact, it looks more likely to be bearish congestion with these moving averages. And so if you're holding Zilliqa and we lose these lows, that would be for a bit of a sell setup for me below 442. I think that we are setting up a retest of these big lows down here at 348. So don't hold on if that happens. until then, really, we're not doing anything. We're sideways and trapped in ZIL. I'm just going to quickly peek at ZIL dollar. We'll look at ZIL dollar a bit for next. Doesn't look so bad. Like, you wouldn't have lost a ton of money hanging on to this one here, but the bearish signs are in this one. If we, I think, potentially, well, not quite there yet. We've got a little bit of room to the upside, but we're flirting here with this 200-day moving average. Let's see if we can hold above it. The coins that have done really well have pulled back to these averages and held them and then turned and carried on higher. So let's see if we make an ABC correction. We've got a bit more room to the upside in Zilliqa dollar, and to the 50% level, you can see that the equal measured move and the 50% retrace line up at the same level here. So 73389 would be where I would be looking to if we do one more push higher against the US dollar. But this is another one where Bitcoin is outperforming. So, you know, a little bit. Game of Thrones. Damn, I haven't seen it yet either. And I am the biggest fan. So that's what I'm going to do when this live is over. I'm going to watch some Game of Thrones. Okay. So Zilliqa, like, I don't think you're going to hurt yourself in this one, but you're not going to make a ton of money. It's a slow grinder, and Bitcoin is outperforming for now. Watch for a breakdown in that Zilliqa Bitcoin chart. The next one we're looking at is RCN, which is Ripio Credit. This one. So fib levels are like staircases, you know. When you bounce off them, they're resistance and then support, okay? So we're looking at the most recent swing here, lower, in Ripio. So we drew our fibs like this, from this high to this low. The first swing took us to the 236 fib perfectly, and then a deep retrace. The second swing took us perfectly to the 382 fib, and now we're doing another deep retrace. So we just have to put it up. Now, if we were going to carry on to the 50%, we would have found support here at these highs and the 236 fib, and we didn't. So we're in a much bigger retrace now, and we just have to wait for it to play out in RCN. So not ready yet. This retrace was an 886. Let's hope we don't do that again. That would be all the way down here, but no. Now, very often you find support, the previous wave 4, which would be around here, and this daily 50 moving average. So I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe doesn't come quite that far, and we might see some support around here, around 560. And then if we put our fibs on from this swing, see where that is with them. Nothing. It's here, is it? We've just lost that 50%. Maybe it works from the lows. Like this. Not really. So let's see. Anyway, that would be if I was looking for a bounce. And very often you'll see consolidation between these daily 20 and 50 moving average. So pretty good support there anyway. Around 560 in RCN. But for now, not a reason to buy. Hello, Danger Mouse. I'm not a girl, I'm a woman. Okay, let's carry on.
Did you miss LBC and EOS?
No.
Okay, cool.
Can you see the list? Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I missed EOS. My apologies. I missed EOS because I added it in on the list. Thank you, James. Library credits and EOS. EOS, I nearly put it on my list of picks. It's just I think it needs a bit of a pullback. So EOS tether from this high to this low, we've blasted above our 236 fib at 4.86. We've done one swing of correction. I think we're going to do another. I think we're going to consolidate above this level and then carry on higher from here. We're just not quite ready to do it yet. So we're forming this triangle pattern above this support. So here's our first swing lower, rally. I think we see one more swing lower, and then up we go again. We might do a bit of this, but that's EOS Tether. Quite bullish, holding above support in EOS Tether. EOS Bitcoin probably doesn't look quite so good, but EOS, actually no, it doesn't look too bad, does it? Now this one potentially, I'm really not a fan of slope necklines that slope this way in EOS. You know, I don't mind a bit of a downward slope in head and shoulders patterns, but I'm not the biggest fan. But let's look at fib levels, because we got above the 236 fib, we held above it, we retested it perfectly last week. I'm looking for EOS to continue higher from this consolidation, 12,238 and 14,561 next. The problem is we're stuck right underneath this high, consolidating, aren't we? So a daily close above this level, which is 10, where is it? 10, let me level it. 10,700. A daily close above 10,700 is what we need really to get going. This is another one, you know, in really nice consolidation, just really waiting for it to go higher again. So yeah, 12,238. Just not sure it's quite ready. Now short term, we could draw it this way. Almost looks like a little diamond pattern here. I would put an alert there. I want to know when it's making a strong move to the upside. Momentum is turning up again. So we could rally from here. Just got to break these highs. Yeah, EOS in a very nice uptrend. I just wasn't sure. It's not on my list of picks today because I just wasn't quite sure that it was ready to buy today. And yeah, and so library. Yeah, just let me get library credits, LBC, 1 second. So library credits is about as old school as it gets, isn't it? And I can't find it, which is a bit annoying. 1 second. Here they are. Now, here's our daily chart. Look at this, lovely. This is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we have pulled back to these moving averages and are turning higher again. If I put regular candles on, you can see that we're pressing the highs here in library credits. 853. If this is not, if I'm wrong about it being an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and if in fact it's just an ABC correction, then potentially we could stall here at 853, which is where our second leg is 61.8 of the first leg. So that would be on, if you bought it on this daily buy, because it is swinging higher, where I would watch for trouble. But otherwise, my target here is 124, which is where we still have the equal measured move, and it's around those highs, previous highs, and that's kind of reverses the trend. So looking really good, isn't it, for a bottom here and a holding above these daily moving averages. We've pulled the 20 and the 50 above the 200, so a really bullish cross. So 853, make sure we clear that, then 1024 next, and then potentially 1300. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly. This is such an OG of a coin, isn't it? Okay, so we're just going to take this swing. The big first target out there is 25.76. That's ridiculous for a first target. I'm going to take this first 236 fib from these highs because it lines up with this 1.618 projection, and that would make a lot of sense for the first target. So 1285. And that would also be, if we look at this as an inverted head and shoulders pattern, a really good target for our first swing. So 1285. We've got this double bottom here to worry about as well. A little bit higher, 1330. So looking really good on the weekly and on the daily for library credits. That's why I picked this one. Very good, old school coin. Okay, so the next one we're going to, if I miss another one, well, hopefully somebody will tell me. Thank you. What? Tron is not a bottom. Okay. Check ADX. Da, da, da. Okay. Carry on, carry on. Okay. Nick, please take a look at MPXS. Is that Pundy? I'll try and do Pundy at the end, okay? So next we're going to look at LISC, LSK, and ZEC. Okay, so LISC is next. This one, I'm so undecided about LISC because we can see like such a clear, to me, it looks like such a clear pattern at this 236 fib, this double top high here, highs, you know, and once we got above it, we should have held on and carried on higher. I don't understand, you know, this sideways price action unless the bulls and the bears are having a proper fight here. So I was, hoping for this to hold, looking for it to hold and looking for a continuation higher. And I thought, in fact, that we would be able to buy against this level. I marked it in blue here, and it hasn't. We're just chopping back and forward through it. That's now a bit of an issue. So I'm going to mark these highs this way, and I'm going to put my alert on here, because I would like to buy some LISC. In fact, I've tried already, and this is where I got burnt. So if we can hold support and break to the upside, okay, I'm going to get an alert when it breaks this levels at the highs. And then I'm going to look for this on a 15-minute chart. And I'm going to look for it to get above and then stick it, as in hold above, like get above and then come back and retest and find support. And if it does that, then I will buy it. But I'm not going to get messed around again in this one. Now, if we go back, if we see a bigger pullback here, or if we break down from here and back underneath this 200 moving average, I'm going to say that this was a false breakout and I'm going to give up on LISC. So yeah, back underneath these lows then at 37,862. That's where I'm going to say bye-bye and party over. There's a bigger correction going on. Okay? That's LISC. Bit of a disappointment. Big time. ZEC is next. Now, it's the ZEC. One second. Here we go. Zcash. I'm so neutral, Zcash. Look at this. I want it to break out every time we rally. This is another one that I would like to be a head and shoulders pattern, and I'm a bit concerned about it. Again, because the best head and shoulders patterns are symmetrical. The shoulders are similar size. So if this is our left shoulder here, that's the size. We've kind of gone beyond it, or almost. We really need to turn up higher here, or it's not going to work soon. And I suppose you could argue that maybe we've got this little bit here, and maybe I should give it a bit more time, like this. That'd be good. In which case we have got a bit more time. So I'm waiting for a breakout above 14,805 in Zcash, and when we do, because of this inverted head and shoulders pattern at the 236 fib, our target would be twice that range, so it takes us to the 50% at 17,361. We will have a bit of resistance on the way here at the 200 moving average at 16,218, but that would be the measured swing target. So looking good. Moving averages have lined up the right way. We just, back and forward sideways, no breakout yet. So if you look at ZEC against dollar, you will see that you're not actually losing a ton. You're just going sideways underneath the resistance here against the dollar. So it's not you're not losing money in this one. It's just opportunity cost. I will try and do what I can. Now, if we say this is our most recent swing lower, so we'll take this swing high and we'll take it to the spike, you'll see that we are actually at the 50% level here as well. So 50% back, 200 moving average. We need to be above 77.50 in US dollar terms for Zcash, because if we don't, and if we reverse, so by reverse I mean if we take out this low in the middle here, we could come back 50% the other way because of the 50% rule. And because of that spike, that's quite a long way. It's back down, in fact, to these lows and 46.76. So let's hope for some sideways consolidation. We don't come back below this 20 moving average. We don't come back below 63. So an ABC correction, something like that. So we go ABC. Oh, no, wrong one. So we've gone A, B, C like this, and then we turn up again. That would be perfect. So 63.26. But on a lower time frame here, whilst we're going sideways, I think it would be a good time to de-risk and wait for the support there. Time to take some off, sell some, reduce your position, so that's ZEC. Nano is next. Takes a bit longer when you look at them against Bitcoin and against the dollar as well, don't you? But hopefully people now are not too depressed by this correction, because they can see that they're not actually losing shed loads of money. Now, Nano there's positives and negatives here. So let's talk about the positives. First off, this resistance that we have not been able to close above before at 29.51, it looks like we're going to have a daily close above. So that's quite bullish. So now I think we can say if we hold above 29.51, we're looking very good here. However, we failed again at these previous highs, and we aren't going anywhere unless we get above them. So we're stuck in a sideways zone in an uptrend, waiting for us to go higher. So above 31.93, I think, because most corrections are three waves. Look, 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3, and we need to see this play out with one more swing, and then the next time we'll be on our way. So time needed, a bit of patience in Nano Bitcoin at this level, and see if we can hold support 29.51. I can actually put it back off. So looking really good for Nano Bitcoin. This honestly would be on my list tomorrow or the next day, watching for these pullbacks. If we look at Nano and Tether, we're in a super uptrend. Now, this 50% rule, okay? When you have a big green candle, you don't really want it to come back more than 50% for it to keep going. So we're looking at Nano against Tether. Let's tidy this up a bit so we can see where that 50% level is. 1.2661. Okay, so that was the 50% here, 1.2661. And we didn't come back underneath it. So 1. There it was. So as long as we hold in the top half, so we can say the same again for this green candle. As long as we hold in the top half of this open, close, if you like. So that's 1.5007. There we go. And these previous highs, as long as we don't close above there, then we look good to carry on higher. If we do, then we've broken this uptrend and we're in a bigger correction. We're likely to come back to these previous lows. And these previous lows would be here, and the 20 moving average 128.30. So support at 1.5 and then 128.30 in nano. But yeah, looking all right at the moment. In terms of fib projections, let's do. That says we like the support. Might move this a bit lower. See if that holds. And then it's taking that one. Okay. Gosh, look how these fib levels are working really nicely from this very first corrective. 1272, 1.618 was support, 2.618 was resistance. That means the next time if we make new highs, 4.236 should be our next target. We might see the 3.618, but that one doesn't very often work. It's the 4.236 we want next. That's up here at 2.267. So if we close above 1.68, next upside target nano 2.26. I don't know if link got skipped, but it did. So sorry, I'm going to delink. Thank you. I did my list in a hurry tonight. I apologize. We'll delink. So nano, if nano can hold support, nano's got lots of nice targets to the upside. Let's put it that way. So let's take a look at link LNK. Chain link. Now, here's our daily chart of chain link. Here's a little phenomenon I've noticed. Okay, so I've put my correction on my fib from this high to this low. Okay, I'll mark it. Right. This high to this low. And we're using fib projections for targets. Very often, if you stop at the 113, so you make a marginal new high, your support is the 886. So this, for me, is support. In fact, the 886 back test is quite a reliable fib for me. So as long as we hold above 5411, I think that we've got a really good chance of 6241 and then 6986 next on the upside. I think this is in a really nice uptrend and this is pretty good support. So let's see how we're doing here if we're about to turn higher. I think we are about to turn higher. So we'll connect the highs like this. Third touches of trend lines are very often false breaks. So watch that we don't do this and then come back. But yes, I like this against this level 5-4 and against this 5-4 level. I think it's a really good buy and just waiting for the next swing higher to begin in link. This is link tether, by the way. So we'll take a quick peek at link Bitcoin and then we'll carry on, but link is looking good. Now in Bitcoin, it's not quite as happy. But this is really good support. I'm going to explain why. Here's a daily chart. I'm going to hide these moving averages for a minute. We're in sideways consolidation. So we've had a pullback. We've had a pullback. And then I actually think what we've done here, it looks like sideways consolidation. But what I think we've done is an A leg down. And then A, B, C up. And now we're doing A, B, C down to finish. And if I measure from this high to this low, and I project it from this high here, you can see that we've tagged this 61.8 and we're retesting the lows of this range. So this is pretty good support for us to turn up from, 10,623. But if we don't, or if we close below 10,623 here, then the equal measured move from this swing A, B, C takes us down to 8545. So I'm waiting for that. That's my reason for waiting for this to turn higher again. And obviously we've got these highs in the middle that we kept getting stuck at. Couldn't close above. Here. 13,286. If we get back above them, I think we're in our next leg higher, and our 1.618 target comes into play here on the upside at 18,668. So just waiting for this to break out. Now you can buy it against the lows because you've got really low risk reward, and you know when you're wrong, because if we close against this level, and you're looking for a breakout of these highs. Okay. Okay, sorry for pulp, sorry for skipping that one. So potentially we've got a low here. Potentially. Let's just pop that in because I say all that stuff about the 886. But look, here's what I mean about that 886 fib back test. We're sitting on it, okay? So really good support, 10,675. I'm going to do Pundy at the end, NPXX Bitcoin, okay? And the Daleks will remind me because we'll add it on, okay? Okay, BNP and then BCPT. So BNB, Binance Coin. Everybody wants to know when is the correction in Binance Coin over and when can we buy it again? How much further is it going to fall? Blah, blah, blah. So do I. I'm a huge Binance Coin fan. But let's have a tidy up. This is a weekly chart of Binance Coin. We'll start again. Hide these moving averages. This very first corrective swing, I used the fib projections from this swing for the levels, and at each one we've seen pretty big pullbacks. We've talked about this. This also was a bearish evening star reversal, okay? So we've broken down here, and potentially we could come all the way back to these highs, you know, or potentially at least 38.2 of this swing or 50%. So let's mark these levels because we've lost just this most recent swing. We've lost the 236 fib. Now, if this is a wave 3, the ideal usual pullback is 3.82. So the next level that I would be looking for a pullback is here based on fib retrace levels. Another way to look at it is the 236 from the low lows. So potentially that says support a little bit higher, 3382. So there's a number of levels we can look for when this is over. What we're trying to do is see where everything adds up together, if you know what I mean. Another way, let's go down to a 4 hour. Okay, and we'll see where kind of measured targets takes us. So if this is our first swing lower, it looks more like a crack correction. Let's do it like this. That one to that one there. In the middle. Damn it. So let's put it this way. I think we've got a little bit further to fall. And the support that I was hoping that we would hold, which was be around here, which was like the confirmation from our double top level is broken. This is not a perfect double top. So I'm not going to call it one at the moment. Like I like to see them a little bit closer. But we've definitely reversed. So let's put our moving averages back on and see where the daily ones are. Because we know when you lose the daily 50, you have got much further to fall. So we might bounce here. Now, sometimes we've seen it that, you know, you bounce, we just have a good look underneath and then we close back above. It will count as a last minute save of these lows. But at the moment, yeah, you shouldn't be holding BNB. You're much better off in Bitcoin. Now, let's take a quick look at US dollar because before anybody commits suicide looking at that chart, let's take a quick look at BNB against Tether. You can see we're not really collapsing. You know, in percentage terms, we really haven't come back that far. And if we look at our big daily chart and the big ABC we did, you know, each one of these levels, this 618 was resistance. I think we see a shallow pullback and to 1713 next. I had been looking for higher, I admit it, but you know, it is what it is. So next support, if you're looking at Binance Coin and Tether, is 1713. That's a big deal level. Look, these highs here, 20 moving average. If we take this most recent swing higher from here, it's the 61.8, which I haven't got marked. 61.8. If we take it from this swing low, it's the 50%, a little bit lower. So in this range is a lot of support. Okay. So that is Binance Coin. Not a buy yet. We'll look at that one we'll look at that one next week again and see what's going on. For now, I really would leave Binance Coin alone. You know, it can come all the way down and have a big up day. And if it has a big bullish day, that's great. We know that's where the buyers are. We can buy a pullback. Let somebody else get their fingers chopped off trying to buy it. Okay? Okay, BCPT, I think, is next. Good. So some very popular ones from last week. Let's see how they fared. BCPT, MFT, and GRIN next. So Block Mason Protocol. Good grief. Messy chart time. Let's tidy up. Well, let's try and look at this with an open mind and see what's going on here. So, well, I think this is pretty good, really, in terms of pullbacks, because we've held a really good support level, double bottom. So it's been a pretty ugly week, but we've recovered from this retest of the lows. It's now a triple bottom, and we've rallied back above these daily moving averages. So we're off the bottom and headed back to the top of the range again. We did a 50% thing here. So from this high to this low, we stalled at the 50% and came back 50%. And, you know, got really in a kind of very tight consolidation. For a couple of days, we could touch all three of these daily moving averages. They're all so tightly bunched up. Whenever you see that, it's setting us up for a really big move next, hopefully. So let's see. If this was ABC up and we've done ABC back, we should see another leg higher. If this was, our first one from here to here, and we're going from here, we should see a retest of the highs at 1432 and 1697 maybe next. So, but short term, yeah, BCPT holding above these daily moving averages and just turning green again looks good to me. Basing. Now, I would dump this if we drop back underneath this level here at 1090. That's not a good look for BCPT. But for now, I should be trailing this one up. I think we're just turning up again, and looks really good to me. Wait for an upside breakout. And above 1300 would be for sure a breakout. 1300. So we're going to watch for a retest of the highs, see if we break out from there. Then the equal measured move level. And then beyond that, we can look for these highs at 2168 if we can do it. But at the moment, sideways at the 200 moving average, watching for a breakout of this range. There's a whole bunch of ways you can draw this on the daily as well. We could do it like this. And we could say a break of these highs. There's a bull flag break higher. Ultimately, 2168 and this big high up here should be our next goal, I think, in BCPT. if we can break higher. MFT mainframe. So many consolidation patterns, but mainframe is the same. Trying to bounce off the lows. The problem is that this wedge consolidation here in mainframe is at the bottom of a downtrend. And not only that, but the highs keep being the 236 fib and the 200 moving average. So we can't say mainframe is trying to go higher until we get above that level. 97 is what we have to break in mainframe to go up. And when we do, our target is 140. So we've got a ways to go. Now, you can, this is a third touch, you can buy it against the low of this wedge, because you know where you're wrong, don't you? We know if we're pretty close to where, if it breaks down, we know where we're wrong. Short term, looking at this though, I have to say I don't think it's inspiring. When I look on this 4 hour or hourly, it's just looking a bit corrective. This is like, this was equal measured moves here. They're not perfect, but you know what I mean. So come on, let's see. I think if we break this double top high, finding support from these moving averages, that would be a pretty good entry here above 84 for a swing back to the top of the wedge. Or if we marked it this way, that's a 382 fib, 83 that we're sat under. Yeah, so, you know, we'll do the fib levels going up this way because they look like they're being respected. And above this 50% at 86, for sure we're going up. But, yeah, this wouldn't be my first pick at the moment, mainframe. So let's wait and see. Just because triangle patterns or wedge patterns in a downtrend very often break with a trend, so I'd be a bit careful. Okay, GRIN. Let's see if we've got better news in GRIN. Gosh, not really. Let's see. All the way back to retest the lows. Yikes. Yeah, I think we're going to retest the lows in this one, which is a bit disappointing. No reason to buy GRIN yet. So let's watch for a retest of $56,500 and see if we can find some support there. If we can't, the next fib level lower is this 113 level. Really, if we make new lows, though, you shouldn't be holding on to your bags, honestly. There's no reason. So 51,935 would be the next support if we don't hold the lows. So, no. I'm sorry, GRIN. I was hopeful last, but yeah. XTZ. XTZ, as we say in England. Tezos, hold on. This is our daily chart in Tezos. So we've had a really spectacular run in this one. Let's see if our fib projections would have worked for a target for this one. We'll do this ABC here. 2.618, 3.618 is where we stopped. So we've still got a level back to go, and we'll look for the 1.618 to be support. Okay. Good stuff. So, clean up. I actually do like these previous lows and this 1.618 level at 17,087 to be support for Tezos. So we're nearly there, and we're going to retest it today. We've bounced off this level once. We need to see if it holds on a retest. This was our level we needed to break to get going higher. I think we could do a bit of a slow time move here and let this 200 moving average catch up and then see. You know, it's 17,087. If that level breaks, then we have got much further to fall. We'd be looking for 14,380 next. But I don't think it will. I'm quite hopeful. Let's just put it that way. No reason to buy it yet, though. You need to let it come down there and turn up and show you some green from these previous lows as well. So time for a little bit of patience in Tezos and a retest if we're going to find some support. Okay. I don't know if I've done Lend yet. Sorry, Ashley. Let me see if it's... I don't think Lend is on my list. It wasn't requested. I'll try and add it at the end. Poloniex has been better volume for GRIN, has it? Okay. Let me see if the charts look any better there. No. Damn. Right on the lows, 57,000. Right there now. Okay. So I'll reiterate, XTZ, I don't think this is a head and shoulders, but be careful because if the neckline breaks, it will be. Okay, we're looking for support here between this 4-hour 200 moving average, so around 16,500 or 17,000, and to turn up higher. And if you're holding Tezos, okay, and this support level or these previous lows break, please don't, because there will be a much bigger correction. If we go back to the daily, the next support is down here at 14,380. If not a little bit lower with that 886 back test. 13,880. So important support. Okay, that's XTZ. Hot QKC. Holo. Gosh, Holo. Here's our daily chart of Holo. This is another one where I was hoping that on a retest we might actually be able to stick our toe in and find some support because it's a really good 618 fib level. And you know, when you draw a 618 fib level, the golden ratio zone is between the 618 and the 382, which would have been up here. That was where I was looking for. But the pivot level that decides is the 50% here. So potentially 745 should be good support. But if we have a daily close beneath it, which it looks like we're setting up, then the next fib down is the 786. And 745 becomes resistance. I'm a little bit open here. And I tell you why, because 786 fib levels are really sharp. Okay, when you hit one of those, it should hold exactly. You don't have a big look the other side of it. Whereas 618 fib levels can be really messy. The market can have a really probe below, a big probe below, and then still turn there. So I'm going to say maybe these highs. I'm going to get, if we go below these highs, I'm probably going to leave this one alone, Holo. I'm looking at Holo F. Holo's really hard to chart against Bitcoin just because they're such big ticks. Now, I can see looking at this that these fib levels work really well, but I'm just to be safe, I'm going to pull it down and say maybe this is a messy 50% and maybe a little bit lower at 658. Still headed lower though is the message in Holo and no reason to buy it yet. Let's put it that way. Still looking pretty weak. Now, let's look at Holo Bitcoin. See if we've got a reason to buy that. Or Holo Dollar sometimes is easier to chart. Now, I've gone from the all-time lows to highs in this one. And here we have lost that 50% level, I think. You know, and so headed lower. to the 61.8 and these highs. The problem is, if you're counting waves in Elliott wave, we really shouldn't come below these highs, should we? So in an area where we should find support, but I'm not sure that we can. I think we come a little bit lower. Okay, the reason I'll do US dollar as well. I will. A lot of people in my group trade it or chart it against ETH because there's such fat ticks. Okay, look, if you look at here, this is what I mean. If you look at an hourly of Holo, they're big ticks, 24, 25, 26. It's like Doge. That's why. Okay? Whereas against the US dollar or ETH, they're bigger ticks. So let's look at it a bit for next here like this. Daily. Now, this cannot be. Let me see. Let's look at it at Binance, okay? Yeah, an order book's a mess to be filled. It is a mess, isn't it? That's why I chart it that way. Now, let's look at Holo against Tether at Binance. So you can see against the US, against Bitcoin or ETH, which are outperforming Holo, it looks like hell, doesn't it? But if we look at this chart of Holo against Tether on the daily, you've given back no money at all. This looks like a stable coin, doesn't it? Because it's holding pat sideways with the dollar. The thing is with this 50% level of the highs to lows are holding us down. And this looks a bit corrective, like ABC. I'd be very careful. I wouldn't want to see this back below 12,460 or much further back. I would take profit in this. This looks like a double top to me. And that's always a warning that we've stopped going up. So I would reduce my position at a minimum in hot. Because, you know, if we get back above 1347.5, you can just buy it back again. Put an alert or a buy stop order above the highs. But at the moment, I think the risk is we head lower. So sell some and put an order just above if it goes up again. Okay? H. Kushwaha, in my opinion, what makes more sense for alts charts, comparing them to Bitcoin or dollar? Okay, I compare them to both for a couple of reasons. First off, it's very easy for people to look at a chart of something against Bitcoin and freak out. You know, freak out and go, look at this downtrend. We've been in a downtrend, you know, since January. How much money have I lost? And that's mental capital. That's ridiculous. You don't need to waste that mental capital because, in fact, you haven't lost any money. Let's look at it against US dollar again. You haven't lost any. So I think it helps to look at it against US dollar to stay calm. But if your goal here is to make as much money as possible, you really want to be in the best performing coin. So if hot is going down like this against Bitcoin, you want to be in Bitcoin. You don't want to be in Holo. And so, yeah, I think if you want to become an active, profitable trader, your goal should be to accumulate as many Bitcoins as you can. That's the stable currency. And only when Bitcoin is really underperforming dollar should you get out of it. So that's how I would do it. That's how I do it anyway. Okay, let's take a couple more. QKC, QKC, and then Raven. So for a lot of these coins, I think we can say, yeah, it's okay, but you're better off in Bitcoin, or you're better off against ADA. And yeah, I'll go back and do ADA Tether. I'll do ADA Tether. Now, let's take a look at this Quark chain, because Quark chain, I think, has made a very nice pullback. This double top here says we should have gone a bit lower, but we found really nice support and made a pretty good rounding bottom here at the 50% back. It was a bit messy, unusually messy, and we've been bunched up around these moving averages. I'm going to say here, you see how even though we're flat, the moving average was, this 200-day moving average was support and resistance. I really wouldn't want us to go much below this in Quark Chain. I think, again, you're going to be better off in Bitcoin. If we go from this swing, this is the 61.8 level. If we go from the lows, we're almost at the 50% level. So let's say 918. We'll call it 918. Don't really want to see it below 918. And if it does, I would rotate back into Bitcoin and not, or Tether. I would not stay in Quark Chain. Okay. So here we are at a really good level. Let's see if we're going to find some support here or double bottom on the hourly or turn higher. So yeah, I'm watching for a bullish reversal and much lower than 915. I would give up on this one. 915 around there anyway. 913. That's how I see Quark Chain. Now, I am going to look at the US dollar, but the point is that, yeah, it's not pulling back hard in this one, but we have stopped going up against the US dollar, haven't we? So maybe it's time to wait. We're just getting first red Heikin-Ashi, big deal level. I think it is time we are rolling over, time to take some profit in QKC and wait for a pullback and move on. Now Raven's been threatening to do something. How are we getting on in Raven? We're going to start with Raven Bitcoin. Let's we really good confluence of resistance. The fibs are working really well in Raven, and we've pulled back really nicely to a good level. What I also like about Raven is this ABC. So I'm waiting to see if this consolidation will break to the upside. This was the third touch of this trend line. We didn't get out. Maybe the next time we can. So if we put a horizontal price on it here through the middle, maybe 13,900, 1400, above 1400 would definitely be a breakout, wouldn't it? And a next swing. Let's see if that's, there's the fib level, 1391. That's what we want to see. That's the 50%. So above 1391, I think Ravencoin is starting the next swing higher. It's pulled back really nicely, almost ready to go. It's like turning up everywhere. Where are we going to go next? Well, we stopped at the 1.618 here. Let's make that dark. So the 2.618 should be next. And when I put this, I had a swing on here. That lined up pretty well. So let's see if that lines up. Oh, that's up there as well. So there we go. 2,250 to 2,300 if we can get this next swing going in Ravencoin. So we've got to break out from this trend line, and then we've got to break above 1526, and then we should be on our way. Okay, I did look at Ripple earlier. Ripple's still headed lower, unfortunately. I'm going to do ADA against the dollar, and I'm going to do Pundi at the end. And the one that Ashley asked for that I can't remember, but I will, Ashley. Lend, that's right. I'm just going to scribble it down. So we'll add Lend, Pundi, and ADA against the dollar. Okay. Nearly getting there. Okay. Now, the next one that was requested was Beam. This is not a coin I've looked at before, Beam. And I'm a little bit concerned we're trading at new lows here. That's the price line. we've dropped below these initial lows, and this is a bit of a concern. Let me undo that so the price line is there. So if we look at next fib projections, if we do this big one, this is pretty scary because the 1.13 is all the way down here. Now, if this is going to be one of those false breakdowns that bounce back pretty quickly, let's mark that 113 again. 1552600, are we there? Yeah, underneath it, let's do the 1272. It's not looking like a false breakdown, but so at this point, in fact, we're underneath it. At this point, this was our previous low, isn't it? Here in the grey. Only looks like we're trying to double bottom here and have a go, but only if we get back above this level here, which was that previous low, I'm going to say, okay, this was a false breakdown and we're going up again. Otherwise, I think more likely we could just rally up there and find resistance and roll over again. So we really do need to get above that initial low from here, which is at 1,566,400. So otherwise look lower from here in beam, sell rallies, okay? And then we've done link. We're going to look at Pundi, Lend and ADA against Tether. So first off, we'll do Pundi. We're going to look at Pundi Bitcoin daily chart to start with. Now, let's put some height. This is what I mean about, okay, chunky ticks. Okay, this is just like Holo. Look, you know, the jump from 10 to 12, you know, these are big fat ticks. And so this is why I very often chart Pundi against ETH or Pundi against the dollar. But we'll do this quite quickly. Remember, even if this is just a corrective rally in Pundi, they are normally three waves. So this would mean that we would have a rally A up, B back, and another leg higher from here. And ideally, we're looking to come back to these highs here if we can, okay? In an equal measured move or something like that. So that's what I'm looking for, hopefully next in Pundi. Now, all the way down, this 200 moving average really is where we're being capped. At the moment, that's at 18. So when this declining wedge breaks to the upside, that's going to be our next target. And if I measure the swings like this, there, lines up 27. There'll be resistance at 24, but our target is 27. That's how I'm seeing Pundi. We need a breakout, though, from this channel that we're in. Now, I'm going to do it against the dollar just because it's easier to chart, okay? So target, channel, breakout, target. I'm going to put an alarm on this one, but I'm going to do it on a lower time frame so I get a better alert. So earlier alert, okay? Okay, so let's look at Pundi against the US dollar. Oh, good lord, look at that spike. Oh. Now, so the 200-day moving averages are resistance Pundi Bitcoin, and here in Pundi dollar, the 200 moving averages are resistance as well, and we're going to take the fibs from this high as like this. Let's see if that is Fibonacci resistance as well. Sort of, not too bad though. Okay, so this is our support that we're sitting on, and 97,219. This 200-day moving average, though, is a problem. So at the moment, if I was holding Pundi against the dollar, I would have a very tight stop on it. I wouldn't let this swing come back too far. In fact, let's see how we are. Yeah. I think this is going to trade sideways for a bit whilst Pundy Bitcoin stays in that downward channel. When I look at the hourly, I don't have a reason. See, this level should be really good support, 41.89. And if I zoom in on the 4 hour, potentially we're holding this support and we're turning higher from here. Just not quite enough evidence yet. On the hourly, we're holding the support very nicely. But now what you want to see is a move higher. You know, we need to get the hell out of here. So, looks all right against the US dollar. Holding support for now, but if we drop back below this support level, which in the dollar is 74,400, I would probably get out. It's potentially a reversal at the 200 moving average, and any rally off the bottom when we bought this on this bullish cross here, down here, our target was always back to that 200-day moving average. So we've hit the target. We'll see profit. A lot of people will take profit here, and that's why we should be careful if we come back below these lows. So not a reason to buy it yet. Pundy. I'm at ADA dollar. So ADA Bitcoin, I'm quite excited and partial to. ADA dollar looks amazing. So let's look at it against Tether, because most people trade it against Tether. Now, we've got some sideways consolidation going on here in a sideways range. If this was our first swing higher, this was our second swing higher, we're going to measure. Okay, wave. Make sure I've lined it up right. Okay, so wave threes are very often 1.618 or 2.618 of the first one. So I don't think we've reached our resistance yet in terms of fibs when we go that way. And if I say that this was our most recent swing, lower like this, or we'll do this, where we were looking for was this 50% level, 50% of this swing, which is also the big 236 swing from the high. So we haven't reached our target yet either. So we've got to look. So this should be a shallow pullback before we continue higher in ADA Tether. We are pulling back though. So at the moment, it looks like a wedge or a triangle pattern. And remember, that's what you very often see in an uptrend. It very often breaks with the trend, and then it's the last leg. And if we think, well, that's our target up here in ADA Tether, our target's up here at 0.112, then this would be the last leg. So we're waiting for this to break to the upside for our last leg higher. So far, so good. It is bouncing off the lows. Hasn't broken out yet, though. There's the hourly 200 moving average. We've got a triple bottom, 3 touches on the bottom side. This was a false breakdown. So now I'm expecting a real breakdown on the upside here, and then a rally like this. So ADA Tether, that's my setup. Above 0.09, target is 0.1123, ADA Tether. When is Bitcoin Cash SV? Soon, I hope. Okay, let's take a look at Lend, Lend before we go. Thanks for coming this week. Here's Lend. Now in Bitcoin, this is this is making okay. It's holding on, isn't it? It's sideways with Bitcoin. That's really what Lend is. Okay, so Lend is a stable coin like Bitcoin, And that means if Bitcoin's going up, and I think this is a bit of a wedge, it means if Bitcoin's going up, so is Lend big time. So let's see against the US dollar, because this should be an amazing chart moving higher, and it is. So against the dollar, we're above the 200-day moving average, we're moving higher. If we measure our 236 fib as well, we're above that, so 13,334. So everything to like about ETH Lend against the dollar, and we're wrong back below, sorry, 1,133,334, or let's just say the 200-day moving average to keep it short. So this is super bullish, should continue higher, and we'd be looking for, like, you know, each of these fibs on the way up. Okay, so let's go back to Lend Bitcoin. So now it comes down to, you know, is Lend, do we think Lend will outperform Bitcoin? Will Bitcoin outperform Lend, or are they just going to go sideways together and everything goes up and down together? And I'm not quite sure. You know, I'm not quite sure. I'd like to see it if this consolidation breaks to the upside. I would say sell Bitcoin, buy ETH, Lend, or buy Lend. But that's where we are, really, flat, neutral. Whatever Bitcoin does, Lend will do. We'll wait for a breakout. What about metal Bitcoin? It dumped quite hard after the recent rally. Metal hit the target though, I think, didn't it? Let's see. I think metal hit big target. No, it didn't, but it stalled at these previous highs, all right, didn't it? That's always the trend, because that's the day. Okay, when you're in a downtrend, okay, which we were here in metal, you know, you make lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so this was lower low, lower high, and down we go. And so for this to turn around on the daily, we have to start making daily high, and we have to take out this highest high before the last swing lower. So previous highs and lows are always places where people take profit. We've pulled back to kind of good support in this one. I don't know why it stopped there, other than potentially. So it's all just a bit flat now, isn't it? We're going to have to wait for it to come back to these moving averages, back to prior support, see if it holds, and turn higher again. So, you know, the swing's not lining up. But yeah, no, I don't know why it stalled there. Sorry. Okay, that's it. Thanks for coming, everybody. Cryptoeconomy said you were late. What's the consensus on Bitcoin? I expect a pullback and then continue higher in Bitcoin. But yeah, no, I expect shallow pullbacks and a continue higher in Bitcoin. You know, this double top though is always a warning. We have to break it to continue higher. But yeah, it's all looking very squeezy. And one of the things that gives me hope is that ETH is doing so well. Okay, ETH really is. ETH broke the resistance that we were talking about, and it's really powering higher now. And so, there we go. Could you check CLR and Bitcoin, regular Bitcoin Cash, and CELR? So Bitcoin. Okay, I am quite bullish. Bitcoin Cash Tether had a little bit of a shakeout after I said it, but I'm quite bullish. Bitcoin Cash Tether. So SV, I mean, above 89.32. I think we see a big leg higher in Bitcoin Cash SV. So 89.32 against US dollar Tether. In Bitcoin Cash ABC, there's nothing wrong with this chart at all, except it got a little bit stretched to the upside, and we got a bit of bearish divergence going on. And the other thing that's a bit concerning, and this is very often is a profit point, is if I measure the first swing higher from this low to this high, like this, and I project it from here, we hit an ABC level. Now, if people believe that this bounce in Bitcoin Cash ABC is only a correction, that's where they would take profit. So we made an equal measured move back to these lows, and whilst we're still here like this, we're still, to be honest, really in a downtrend, and we're at risk of a bigger correction. Now, one good thing about this is we haven't rolled over and collapsed. So as soon as we break above this resistance, we've broken the bearish symmetry and everything's fine. We can keep going higher in Bitcoin Cash to 0.087 next. 0.087 is our next target on the upside, if we can continue higher. If we reverse here, though, it's a wholly different story. And so I'm just going to take this most recent swing, and I'm just going to say, yeah, watch this 236 fib level, because really, actually, I should do that from the lows. If it's an ABC, you should always do it from the lows. Okay, so I'm going to stay positive in this one as long as we hold above 0.056788483 here and this high. And if we drop below that, that's a reversal. We're in a correction. Where are we going to come back? Probably 50%, maybe back to the 200 moving average, somewhere like this. I don't know, but it's quite a long way to come back, isn't it? So as long as there's no daily close below 0.05678, I'm bullish, waiting to see if we break the resistance. But it is tough resistance. So make sure you've got a stop, okay? Because potentially we might be done in this one. And then CELR, I don't think I've looked at that one before. So, but I will have a look now. CELR. I might say, oh, I've never looked at that one, and then the chart comes out with a load of writing on it, and then I know I have. Okay. Very often, you know, coins, ICOs look like this. It takes a while for them to find their feet. So I'm drawing my fibs here on the correction for projections. Okay, so in a downtrend, you draw it on the bounce from the low to the high. The previous low was support, that worked. The 1272 was support, and then we've lost it. I'm afraid, I think we're headed lower in this one, and the next support is 288. Hello, Crypto Economy. Thank you for subscribing. So I'm sorry if you're holding some CELR. I think we're headed to 288. And because we're at 335, 288, that's like 20%. Don't. Put your stop under the low. Okay, because if you think I'm wrong and I'm a big fat liar, okay, put your stop under the low. If it makes another swing lower, it'll stop you out. And if it goes all the way down here, you can buy it back again. Okay, but if I'm wrong and it rallies from here, then, you know, you'll be fine. But I'm afraid I think it's headed lower. I've done BCH and BCHSV Carvina. I'm afraid you have to do the rewind for that. Sorry. All right, everyone. Have a great night. I'm going to watch some Game of Thrones. Good night. Good luck in Bitcoin. Buy pullbacks. I think we're going higher. Okay. Bye, everyone. LOL BC has asked for Dent. Okay. LOL is what I usually do when I look at the Dent chart, I have to say. But I probably wouldn't if I was holding. Let's see if it's got better since we last checked in on Dent. I've got it against ETH here. Let's do Dent Bitcoin. Yikes. So we'll take this widest part of this wedge. We'll do the 113. I think we've gone beyond it though. Yeah, I've lost the 113. 1272. Next. I think that we're headed to 13. This is one with fat ticks, but even with the fat ticks, it's clear that we've lost this support at 18. So I'm wrong. So put a stop on. I'm wrong if we close back above 18 again in Dent Bitcoin. I think you're just better off in Bitcoin. If we take a look at it against the US dollar, it's probably not looking quite so dire thanks to the rally in Bitcoin. It's just a stable coin. So you're not losing money, you're not making any money. If we lose these lows though, yeah, I wouldn't hold on. No reason. We're not, there's a good buyers here, but sorry, Dent. What do I think about CET? I'm not. CET. CoinEx token. Let's see. Had a nice rally, hasn't it? Let me see if there's any resistance here. Why is it stopped here? Apart from being really stretched to the upside. Where have we gone? Do 1, 2, 4. I actually think that this one's got further to go. I'm going to take these little ones out here, the 2 and the 2.24, and this 113. So, especially I like the way that the buyers have showed up here and pushed this up again. You know, and as long as we hold above 48,600 or we don't have a daily close below it, I'm going to look for us to carry on higher in CET to 72,000 next. So, you know, we're in obviously an uptrend. We are pretty overbought. We've got bearish divergence here on the CCI, but the fib levels say that there's potential to go higher. A daily close though, back below 48,600, and I'd be out of this one. So, and waiting for a bigger correction. That would do me. Time to take profit. A quick look at GNT. GNT. Now Golem's another one. So see this sideways range, normally if you get above the 200 moving average, you would expect it to hold and us carry on higher. And I looked at this and thought, wow, this is a lovely wedge. We should just break up to the upside. What's not to like? We should be going to the top of the range. And we didn't. We've come all the way back under these moving averages. And they're dead flat. Look, they're all horizontal. So that means range trade. And that means also potentially that we could go, if we break this support of these lows, we're going all the way back down to the low lows. So we really need to hold this support where we are now. So far, so good. Triple bottom. We are holding the support. But it's a bit of a squeaker. Any lower, and I would not be hanging around in GNT. Okay? So, yeah, that's what I'm looking for now. I think we might have done that 50% thing. So if I go from high to low, I think we stopped at the 50%. We did, which means we did this pullback here, 50%. Bit more, isn't it? And so, yeah, we need to go past the 50% going up to make sure we're going higher again. So that's going to be 21.20. Or is it 21.20? 21.36. So when you buy, if you're buying GNT off the lows, make sure we get beyond 21.26 in the middle to be sure that we're going back to the top of the wedge again. But yeah, no, I'm neutral in Gollum and important lows. Now, Gollum Bitcoin, that's Gollum Bitcoin, neutral sideways. So if Bitcoin has been good, we should be looking good in Gollum Dollar. And we do look good in Gollum Dollar, let's face it, do we? It's not so bad at all. We're above the 200-day moving average and we're grinding up higher. It looks like we're holding it. So it's not a disaster being in Gollum. You haven't lost any money, but Bitcoin has done much better. Let's put it that way. All right, everyone. See you next week. Good luck. Be careful out there. Thank God we're going up again, though. Like, seriously, it's been a very, very long bear market. Seeing any coins back above 200-day moving averages again is a really positive thing. We should be looking at these pullbacks as buying opportunities until they prove us wrong otherwise. Okay? Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming. If you can't wait to see me till next week, you can subscribe to my group and you can get me every day. Bye.